startup. Welcome to a fun-filled hour, hour and a half, depending on how many questions you guys have. And we're going to talk about all the things that make your startup go wow. I'm here to help you, fresh from my office here in Southern California, broadcasting worldwide through the lovely internets, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Facebook, all over the place. And if you're watching this outside the country, welcome to you especially. We do this at night lately, night my time, because that can help us reach people in South Asia and Australia and East Asia a little better than when I do it at lunchtime here, which is more for the California and US audiences. So if that sounds like you, welcome aboard. We're going to spend some time together tonight, and the focus is helping you. That's why I do this. It's free, and I'm just trying to help founders make their way through the difficult world of fundraising. So together, we're going to pile up and jam on your questions and your investment pitches as well. So priority goes to those who are members of the Startup Council, startupcouncil.org. This is the organization that I run back here. And this is a global community service group that I started specifically to help founders like you. So tonight, we're going to go through those. And several of those folks have already sent in their emails with their questions and their pitches, and hopefully those folks will show up backstage, and I'm going to bring them on camera. And together, we're going to explore the worlds that they're building to try to change the world, make it a better place. So that's our plan tonight, and I'm going to turn on the chat room as well, and then everybody can come in, and please let me know, first of all, of course, if you can hear me, and hopefully you can see me too, and if you are available on YouTube or LinkedIn. I think both of those will start appearing in the chat room here, as you can see right there. Go ahead and say hello and let me know if you can hear me. And of course, let me know where you are. Where you are in the world would be, it's always very interesting to me to see where we're reaching, because one of the reasons I do this is because I think that Silicon Valley has done a lot of gatekeeping, and I think it's important to allow people in other geographies to participate in the wealth and the opportunities that are being created here in the United States, and especially here in California. So if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. I hope that you'll have a good time with me tonight, and hopefully those chats will start coming in. It usually takes a minute or two, so hopefully some of you are out there listening to me. There we go. Hey, Nicole Wolf, CEO. Hi, Nicole. Let us know where you're coming from tonight. That would be interesting. Seattle. Okay, great. Same time zone, right? So I guess the evening works for you. Nice to meet you. And we're going to get going here with some other folks in a minute. So let me let's see who's backstage, right? That's part of the oh, actually, one more second, let me do the introduction. I have to do the disclaimers and that kind of stuff, right? So here we go. Okay, so obviously I am Scott Fox, and we're doing the Startup Fundraising Office Hours. This is a free program helping startups around the world, and you can invite your friends if they'd like to join us as well. The easiest place to find us is on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel for the Startup Council. There's about 30,000 people there these days, so go ahead and join in if you'd like to subscribe, and like and comment and share and all that stuff, because it helps us keep the system going and attracting more people that we can help. And that's really the goal here. The primary thing we're talking about today as an opportunity is startupcouncil.org. That's the website that I run, like I said, and it's available online 24/7, and it's a membership-based program, and it's an association with all kinds of cool stuff that was designed specifically to help you, just like I needed help when I was a first-time founder many years ago. So that's the idea, is to help you participate there, and that can be a lot of fun. Let me point out that this is not qualified legal or financial advice. I'm just some guy you met on the internet. I've done a lot of this. I'll tell you about myself in a second if we haven't met. And also that this is being recorded, so don't say anything stupid. It'll be all over the internet soon. And we'd love to hear your questions in the chat room, as well as confirmation that you can see me and hear me. So far, we only have YouTube. Is this working on LinkedIn? Somebody who's on LinkedIn, please let me know. We have trouble there sometimes. All right. And like I said, you can visit us on YouTube. Yep. Okay, cool. So that's the warm up, and we're going to get going here for reals. And let's see. Okay. Yes. Okay. So welcome to Startup Office Hours. I'm Scott Fox. I'm the CEO of the Startup Council. I'm a serial internet entrepreneur and a longtime maker of things to happening. I try really hard to help and engage startup founders all over the world. I travel and speak all over the world. specifically to help empower local ecosystems and founders to bring them the knowledge and the expertise that we have here in California that I feel hasn't been adequately shared. I've written these books behind over here. The three in the middle are in English, and the others are all foreign translations. You can see Polish and Turkish and Russian and Japanese and Vietnamese and so forth. And these are all books about how I made the transition from being a corporate executive to realizing I was really an entrepreneur and how I could use that to build companies and businesses of my own using the magic of the internet. I've been doing that for 25 plus years now, and haven't had a corporate job in a long time. And I spend most of my time these days actually as an angel investor. So I have a lot of experience on both sides of the table as both an investor and as a founder. And that's why I'm writing a fourth book. I'm actually working on that right now, which is about how to raise money. So that's going to be really helpful, I hope, to a lot of you. It's basically an answer to all the questions I get when we do this show, and hopefully it will be useful to you. It's coming in probably 4 to 6 months, I would guess. All right. So that's the concept, and that's who I am. That's why I have the microphone. But mostly I have the microphone because I chose to make this happen. All of you have the opportunity to build things and do things with less friction and startup capital needed than ever before. And that's partly why I do this, is just to show you guys, hey, you can do this too, right? If you have opinions or expertise, grab the microphone and see what you can make happen, right? It's the world is your oyster these days. It's a lot easier than when I started. I raised my first venture round almost 30 years ago after I finished grad school at Stanford. And it was hard. There was no support and no expertise. And yet these days, it's all available online. You can just ask 100 questions to ChatGPT and you'll be an expert by tomorrow. So I encourage you all to do that. All right. So those of you who are just arriving, let's see, Ty and Mustafa and John and Beacon Wealth. Looks like we got Orange County's in the house. All right. Tustin and Irvine and Westminster. And is Westminster in Orange County? I'm not sure. Newport Beach certainly is. So hi to all of you. Let's get going with some of our questions and answers and see what kind of discussions we want to have tonight. So I'm going to bring the folks backstage over to, let's see, how do I do this? So I'm going to bring everybody back here. So Kyle and PG and Sean and Mustafa and Mike. Okay, you're all going to come on for a second here and make sure your cameras are on. Looks like they are. Yes, there we go. There we go. Okay, some familiar faces here. Good. All right. Very nice. Hi, guys. I guess you can hear me. Is that right? Everybody can hear me?
Yep, hear you clear.
Okay, cool. That's always a danger, right? You're never quite sure. All right, cool. So nice to meet all of you. Let's see. Let's just go around. Can we do a quick round? Actually, can we take a quick photo? Everybody kind of just look at me for a second, if you don't mind, and smile and look like I said something smart. I don't know what that look is. Maybe a thumbs up. It'd be great to see all of you. Awesome. Thank you. It doesn't happen unless we take pictures and post them online. So now this is official. So thank you. All right. So maybe we'll just go around kind of clockwise. And I think most of you have written in, so I might have a clue, but let's just hear what some of you submitted your stuff a while ago. So maybe we can just give me like the 10-second version, right? Not the whole pitch, because I'll come back to you. I'm just trying to figure out what order we're going to talk to people in, right? So, okay. So this, let's see, who is this? This is, see your name's PG. Hey, PG, nice to meet you.
Hi.
So what did you wrote in actually, right?
Yeah, I think I've written in, yes.
Yeah, hold on. I need to turn that mic up, man, so I can't hear you. Okay, hold on. All right, say that again, please.
Pardon?
Yeah, there we go. Good. I just wanted to make sure I could hear you. All right, so Patricia, okay, so you had a question about raising money for CoCardio, right? This is good. Okay, so I know what you're here for. Good. And that sounds like a cool company. I'm looking forward to discussing that with you. Okay, CoCardio fundraising. Okay, so that's good. And then who's beneath?
Mike.
Mike. You're Mike. Okay, hi, Mike. And you wrote it too. You guys are you're all following instructions. My God, this never happens.
Every now and then.
Nice to meet you, Mike. So you are looking at accelerators and about timing of funding. Would that be kind of a way to say it?
Yeah, timing and whether taking on somebody else would hurt getting in an accelerator.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Great. And both of you guys are members over at Startup Council. Thank you for your support there. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming, so stick around there. It's not fully finished yet, but we're ramping up, and you guys are going to get in early. Awesome. And then Mustafa, hey, nice to see you, Doc. How are you? You're muted though.
Mute, yeah.
Can you hear me right now?
There we go. Yes.
Okay, hi. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good. Did you want to pitch tonight? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, I would like to pitch tonight. And
Okay.
yeah, we have on our AI power platform for age-rates macular degeneration.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Excellent. Well, glad to see you again.
Thank
All
you.
right. And then there's another familiar face there, Sean. Nice to see you, Sean. God, I think you all wrote in. This is unprecedented. Everybody followed instructions. No, I don't have that one, Sean. I'm lying. Did you write it?
I did write it. I got an email even confirming it.
Did you? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have it. What's on your mind tonight? Nice to see you.
I wanted to talk about AI accelerated coding and the
Oh, yeah.
progression of idea to product and how that's
I did see that.
Also, we're just coming off an accelerator, so I'll give you guys a brief update about our product and how we're doing.
Oh, great. So you can chime in when we talk about Mike's question then. Excellent. Yes. And I did see your question. I'm sorry. I just must not have printed it out. It gets a little crazy in that hour before the show.
Yeah.
Okay. And that leaves us last but not least is Kyle. Oh, hey, Kyle. We've met, right?
Yeah, plenty of times. How are you, Scott?
All right. Yeah. Nice to see you. You're still working on the concussion protocol thing, right?
Yep.
Excellent.
Still working on the concussion app, SmartNosis. I wanted to pitch tonight, get some feedback. We're in the process of raising some capital, so wanted to discuss that as well.
Okay.
Who's looking to, I should say.
Perfect. Okay. So far we've got 2 questions and 3 pitches. That's an interest. That'll be good. That'll be very interesting. Okay. Well, thank you all. Let me just digest that for a second and then say hi to people in the chat room, and then we'll figure out how we're going to get this started. So, let's see. And I think everybody tonight is in America, which is for a change. So the time zone's not quite as difficult. Sometimes I feel bad. We have people come in the middle of the night from Germany and stuff. Well, some of them are probably watching. Okay. So, all right. Let me just check in on the chat here and see if there's anything on fire. Let's see. Good. And sounds like you guys can hear me. Jags Tech from the Valley. Sanjeev from India. We're in India, Sanjeev. And Florida. Rita, hi. And then Jags trying to figure out what to do. I'm caregiver for decades. I'm life-saving medical invention. Design tested. Ooh, okay. Well, that's interesting. You're going to have to tell us more, Jags, or we can come to that later. And Julia from Detroit Homecoming, nice to see you. Excellent. All right. So let's get started then. Let's see. Let me just look at what our notes were. Well, why don't we? Well, let's do a pitch. We've got several of them. So let's see. Well, maybe we'll just go in the order that you guys showed up in. I'm most curious about. I'm curious about all of them, but PG, you had I had a kind of a threshold question for you. So where are you based?
Hey, actually, I was in Orange County. I've been following you since more than 3 years.
Oh,
And last
okay.
I met you at Soka University, and I was actually going to book a call with you, one-on-one offline. But I thought that since I got your email after being a member, I thought let me at least, today talk to you and get to know whether this is something would you be interested. We can talk offline where I can book a call. So
Great.
just
Okay.
wanted to start a conversation with you today.
Super. No, that's great. Nice to see you. I apologize if I meet a lot of people I don't remember, but I was speaking there, right? That was the Tech Coast
Yeah,
Angel.
you're speaking. I do hi-fi all the time, but you see a lot of people, so I totally get you. That's totally fine.
Okay. No worries. Excellent. Let me just remind folks, if you have friends who want to join us, this could be useful. We're doing free pitch feedback and we're doing strategy questions and just trying to help. So if that's useful to you, tell your friends you got a couple minutes here. And you can also like and subscribe. Of course, that's the way of the internet. But mostly we're going to talk about Praktisha's startup. And the key here is she's going to give us a 2-minute pitch, right? So She's going to mostly just practice her pitch, and then we can talk some strategy too. But really the focus is I will try to add what I can, but I don't know everything. And I think she's a doctor, right? So she's got some cardio fancy thing going on here. So I'm only going to be able to address one angle on this. And even that might not be right. So that means the rest of you who are watching, and I know there's other doctors and medical people in here, your feedback would be really helpful, right? So don't make me do this by myself is what I'm saying. And so when people pitch, we're going to give them feedback and help. All right. That's the idea of the Startup Council. We try to help everybody. So, okay. So Pratisha, let me put 2 minutes on my phone. And I know this is an artificial length of time, but the idea is that it teaches you to, well, you get it. I mean, you're an educated person, right? It teaches you that under pressure, how do you deliver? Because 2 minutes goes quickly. So,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I actually, yeah, fine. I'll just say because I had a question, but I'll just quickly give a little bit introduction to what I do. So basically, hi everyone. I'm Pratiksha Gandhi. I'm a preventive cardiologist with more than 3 decades of experience. And I founded Co-Cardio, which is a revenue-generating, franchise-ready preventive heart care company. So what we are trying to do at Co-Cardio is we are shifting the entire focus from reactive sick care treatment to proactive prevention, where we are helping people to avoid, first heart attack or repeat heart attacks. So our model is like very simple. Like we focus on detect early, protect fully, connect deeply, and we have a pre-launch clinic here in Encinitas, where we have already done more than 300K of revenue in last 18 months because we wanted to demonstrate product market fit, de-risk everything. We have a physician buy-in of 250K, and we have profit margins. We have strong unit economics of profit margins of 44%. So, and we invested into getting ready for the franchise. We have filed with California for the FTC. So we are right now at a very nice inflection point. We are going to start fundraising. We are fundraising 500K because we want to now scale and grow into 3 or 4 more franchisees in this year. And then we also want to do hiring and marketing and all those things. So this is where we are at. And my question was to you, Scott, I just want to be very strategic because I've been moving around a lot and meeting people, but very few people are interested in healthcare, wellness, retail space. Because in cardiology, technically what I see is that it is all the med tech or, those pharma driven things, but I am into a very different space, which is cash pay, wellness space. I get a lot of objection that, oh, who will pay in spite of doing so much of revenues. People keep on saying that, oh, who will pay and all. So I just wanted that where to find the kind of investors who would be interested into wellness preventative models.
Right. Okay. So I apologize. I thought you wanted to pitch, and you're right. That's not what
No, yeah, it was, yeah, that's
that's
totally
not what
fine,
your
yeah.
thing said. I got, like I said, it gets a little busy here.
That's totally fine. I get
okay.
you then. Yeah.
So, but that was a pretty good pitch anyway. Those of you in the chat room probably impressed. She's obviously been through this a couple times. So let me just comment on your pitch a little bit, even though it wasn't a formal pitch.
Sure.
It was good in terms of specifics. That's what I want to highlight, because she said some key phrases, like she actually has revenue and said how much. She talked about unit economics, which is a phrase that most civilians don't know, but is near and dear to investors' hearts, because unit economics is how much it costs to make something and then how much you sell it for, and therefore how much profit you make. That's the heart of a business. So the short phrase for that is unit economics. And the fact that she's conversant with that, and it sounds like the unit economics, not only does she know them, but they're good, it's of course very positive. So nicely said. Okay, so yeah, you're having trouble matching to investors. That makes sense. That was when I read your submission, this was my question, because you mentioned a couple times here, and then you mentioned also as franchises. Venture capitalists don't fund franchises. I mean, that I've ever seen, right? It's just not our business, right? So if you want to raise venture capital, I'm not sure that's going to work. That doesn't mean there aren't people that won't fund it. It's just probably not venture capitalists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know who it would be because I'm not a franchise guy. but there's a whole world of franchises. Absolutely. I spoke at a conference once. Actually, did you say you're in Encinitas?
Yes, in San Diego. Yeah, North
Yeah,
County.
yeah. Like, oh, I'm looking around. I don't think I still have it, but like 15 years ago, I was in a magazine called Success Magazine. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I don't even know if it's still around, but it's all about franchises, and it's based, I swear to, I think the CEO lives in Encinitas. I went and had lunch with him. He was right near there anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter where he lives, but my point is there's a whole world of franchise, and that's a different thing. You already found that med tech is not your thing. I'm not sure venture capital is your thing either. If you
Yeah,
actually
that's what I'm seeing, that people are not like excited with this model,
Yeah.
like, because yeah, so that's the reason I wanted that strategy. That's why my question was on strategy, because we have like we have a very good LTV CAC ratio. Everything is like there, but not understanding where to focus,
Yeah. No, I can understand that would be really painful and frustrating.
And I have got a very good franchising, so my franchising development is being done by Chris Conner, and he has done a lot of companies, like UPS, Yoshinoya, Costco, and also he's advising me like our franchise, like entire model plan is very good, but the point is that right now you need a capital, to develop all these things, and that is where I think angel investors and physicians, that is the only route. But now I wanted to go a little bit, when you want to scale and grow, it is not only getting the investors, but also bringing that expertise, right? Because who can help you grow. So
I think you're on the right track. My recommendation would be talk to franchise people. And I don't, like I said, I don't know where they are other than this magazine that I went to their conference many years ago. But there are conferences and there's a whole industries around franchising. It's a different lane. It's like, it's a freeway. It just goes to a different city, right? So you just take a different freeway, I think. And you probably just, it's hard. I see this a lot with people who have really good businesses, but if it doesn't fit the venture capital model, which is very specific, you can waste a lot of time and a lot of money going to conferences and applying to speak at things and incubators and accelerators, which we'll talk about in a minute with Mike. And they just don't do it, right? So you end up really frustrated and you think that there's something wrong with you or your business, and there isn't. It's like you're speaking French and they want to speak Spanish. It's just different, right? So don't feel bad. I think you need to do some different research though. And to the one more practical suggestion I would have, you kind of said it already, so you know this, but I'm saying this for everybody else too. Part of my new book is about how to find investors when you don't know investors, right? And this can apply to franchises as well. But the easiest way, of course, is to find people who are going to like and trust you faster and who have money. So in your case, obviously, like you already said, doctors, right? What other doctors? They'll get this, and they don't have to be venture capital doctors. They can just be doctors who have some money and would understand a cash pay model. So I would be looking at people who have had success with other cash pay franchises, especially in medicine. But like you said, maybe not even just in medicine. Maybe it's a Jiffy Lube, oil change, or it's a, Arby's restaurant or whatever it is.
Right.
It's just a whole different way of thinking about money. And most of us aren't smart enough to think about money in different ways, too many different ways. So I don't know if that's helpful. I'm sorry, I can't be more direct.
No, that's totally fine. It makes sense. But I think my biggest takeaway, and thanks for this, Scott, that's the reason I wanted to speak to you, because my biggest takeaway is that you helped me feel the relief, because I've been applying everywhere and like I'm facing this. So one thing is good to know that, okay, nothing is wrong with me.
Yeah, that's right. No,
I thought, what's happening? Like I've got doing everything right. We have got amazing testimonials and everything is there. So what's happening? So I think I will narrow down my search and look more into the franchisees, and then that helps. Okay.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad. I hope so, because I've seen this a lot, and people, you end up thinking that you're wrong, but you're not. You're just in the wrong room, right?
That's true.
You got to be in a different room. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. So that's PG from San Diego. Nice to meet her. I guess I have met her, but nice to see her again. And sounds like she has a real business there. But this is for all of you, right? Just because people aren't vibing doesn't mean that you're crazy. You may just be talking to the wrong people, right? So the media makes it sound like venture capital solves all problems, and it really doesn't. It's a very specific tool, right? You may need a hammer, but they're a screwdriver, or whatever metaphor you want to use, right? So don't be shy. Branch out, do your research, and try different angles, different places, right? Because venture capital is not one size fits all. Cool. All right, let me check back into the chat room, and then we'll move on to our next pitch, I think, or discussion. Let's see. In the chat says, here we go. Okay, a bunch of questions about ergonomic handle invention. Okay, Ty. Well, maybe we can come back to that, and Jags as well. Yeah, your passion to heal and save lives is good. Just be sure it's compliant with medical safety laws. Have you done any clinical trials? You're a doctor, I think, right? So, or I'm sure that's crossed your mind. So, but it's still good advice. Yeah, be careful about that. And okay, excellent. So I haven't seen any comments from LinkedIn still. Is anybody here from LinkedIn? Is that working? I'm afraid it's not working. So hold on 1 second, if you don't mind, guys. I'm going to pop another window and see what. I get the feeling that the LinkedIn crowd is not here because there's not enough people here. So hang on a second here. I can pull this up on my other screen, hopefully, and I won't lose you all. How do I do this? Okay, there. Yes, and here. Events. Here. Okay, so I'm almost there. Sorry, 1 second. So what's happening? Your event is live. Okay, it says it's live. All right. So is anybody here from LinkedIn? This has never happened before. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going. But anyway, if you're watching on LinkedIn, please. Nope, LinkedIn. What does that mean? Beacon Wealth. You moved over to YouTube. Jules did. Why? Can you just tell me? I need to learn for next. I'll keep going, but it looks like it's live on LinkedIn. I don't understand why. So if you guys could fill me in, that would be great. Okay, so let's move on to our next. So Mike wanted to talk about. Here he is, Mike. Well, he can tell us what he wants to talk about because he knows better than I do. And here's Mike. There he is. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, nice to see you or meet you. So you're local too, right? Is that
Yep.
right? Okay.
In the booming metropolis of Laguna Woods.
Laguna Woods. Okay, excellent. Leisure World. All right.
Traffic's crazy.
Yeah, I'll bet. Okay, so maybe you can review for everybody and for me your questions about funding and timing and accelerators sort of ideas, right?
Yeah. So signed up for an accelerator or two, and then had thoughts on a company that seemed like a good fit for funding or approaching for the lane that I'm in. And I was wondering, does going for any money that you can find, the runway's short, trying to get any money you can find to keep going, is there mistakes that could be made with that would affect the application into an accelerator, or it's just a new world as far as acquiring funding? So
sure, okay. Just give me the super quick. What does your company do, and what stage are you at?
We're pre-revenue. It's BPS Pro Score Plus. We do hands-free scoring for the game of pool and augmented reality training. And come to find out, there is no infrastructure for data in the pool industry. So
right.
I am I'm in examination for patent. I'm patent pending. And I have a pro with 14 years of being sponsored by the league, 250,000 people in the league I play in, which is how I discovered scoring such a drag.
Okay, yeah, I remember this now. You joined. You were part of the startup council. I remember your application. I never seen the a Q Sports focused startup before. It was cool.
And it's been the same. The industry's been the same for 100 years.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So and how much money are you talking about? Do you think? Do you want to raise?
100,000.
Okay, so it's
there.
reasonably small. Okay. And do you have specific accelerators or incubators in mind, or is this more of a theoretical question?
Well, I haven't sent in for TCA yet, but the Y Combinator and Techstars.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So here we go. So TCA, first of all, TCA is not an incubator and accelerator. It's an investment group. So they won't, that's a competing path, at least for the terms of this conversation. You could do both. The one doesn't exclude the other, which is your question, but I wouldn't call them an accelerator or incubator. That's what I'm saying. We invest in all kinds of stuff, but we invest, we don't incubate or accelerate. So the Techstars and Y Combinator model, I think the big question is in terms of, so are there things you could do that would screw one or the other up? For sure. The problem of bad investors is a thing, right? There are people out there that are scammers or bullshitters or liars, just like in any other business. So I have certainly seen, and I hope this doesn't happen to you, but I have seen people get ripped off or fooled, or even just waste a lot of time with people who are fake investors. I've seen worse than waste time, of course, as well, lawsuits and stuff. So that's obvious, I think, but just starting at the base case, right? Can things go sideways? Yes, in lots of ways. Presuming you do a lot of due diligence on anyone that you're going to take money from, I really would recommend that. And the easy one on that is just ask for references. I'm shocked how many founders will take money from people and they're so blinded by the money that they don't check a person's references. And I could tell you a horror story or two involving federal prison. that people that, they get intimidated because people have a checkbook and they don't do the simple task of saying, where's your money from? And can you tell me other people you funded, right? If they won't tell you that, then back away, right? So due diligence is highly recommended. Okay, so assuming you cross those bridges and you find adults who are going to behave and have real money and so forth, and that they're going to be helpful and not give you terms that take over your business somehow. Right. Assuming best case, I don't see a lot of conflict between an accelerator or incubator and investors, except perhaps in the area of dilution and control. So it's typical for accelerators and incubators to take something like 5 to 7, maybe even 10% for a certain amount of money, maybe 100 grand, 200 grand, something like that. I don't know how much you or other people watching know about venture math, but basically as soon as you take money for a certain percentage, that implies a valuation for your company, right? So maybe it's a $2 million is what that, if you work the math out, it's a $2 million company. So that may be fine. That's up to you to make a decision, you and your board and your founders, or you and your spouse or co-founder, right? If you're cool with that, cool. But if there are already investors in the deal and you raise their money at $5 million and now the incubator will only take you, because they tend to have standard deals, an accelerator or incubator, and you want to sign their standard deal, but it's at half the valuation that you took the money from your mother-in-law. Yeah, problems, right? And perhaps vice versa, although not necessarily, because if you had a valuation of $2 million from the accelerator and then your mother-in-law wanted to put in money, presumably you could raise the valuation or at least match. You'd have a floor, that was established by a third party, so that wouldn't be as difficult to negotiate. The harder one is the other one. And I see this all the time because I meet people who, perhaps like you, who have real businesses and they're excited about it, and they may have even funded it with friends and family money or even VC money. And especially if they have raised several rounds of like stacking the safe notes or the convertible debt. Their valuation, it's their friends and family. So they want to, they might have started at a reasonable number, 2 or 3 million. And then, a year later, they needed another 500,000 and they have good friends and rich friends. So then they raise a valuation to 5 million and then 6 million and 8 million, and they still haven't gotten anywhere. Now their valuation's 8 million. They can't go to Techstars or to Y Combinator or anywhere because they're too expensive. They'd have to, if they took the money from Techstars, even though it might be exactly what they need to do, the implied valuation of the incubator or accelerator round cuts the valuation of all their friends and family who invested. And that means they have to go back to their friends, family, mother-in-law and say, hey, you mind if I write down your investment by 75%? That's not fun, right? Not fun. So maybe you knew all that, but is that helpful?
I did. No, I'm not strong on the money side of things, just product and contacts.
Okay, well, good. Well, maybe is that the kind of answers you wanted then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the short version of all that is figure out what the offer of the accelerator incubator is, and then kind of set your expectations and outreach around that so that you don't get out of whack, basically.
Right. Well, the Y Combinator, I think, is 500,000 on 7% is their
Is
flat.
that how they're doing it now? Okay, that sounds about right.
What's the formula offhand, if you know it quick?
Well, if it's 500 on 7%, then it's 7%. 7%, so 93% of it is the other, right? So it's
Mhm.
500 divided by 7%, I think, something like that, or vice versa. Yeah, more or less. So let's see. I'm just looking at my notes from what you said.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the main thing. The other thing is just to be careful in general about accelerators and incubators. I mean, the two you're talking about are amazing, right? So that I wouldn't have real concerns there. But there are a lot of kind of mid-tier ones or ones that were great 10 years ago and aren't so much anymore. Like really, again, check references because you're giving up a chunk of your company. Do they really like they may have a list of amazing contacts that they're going to wave at you.
Right.
But when's the last time they actually raised money from those contacts? Or
Right.
did they ever? Or are those people who just dropped by a happy hour one time, right, and left their business card, right?
Right.
It's a real business. You got to check credentials.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm a solo founder, and I bootstrapped up to where I'm at, which is in examination with the utility patent with it and patent pending. I'm about 90% on the prototype being finished, which is what my pro is waiting for to go
Okay.
to the league. There is no scorekeeping system pretty much in the world for
Amazing.
pool. It is amazing. The timing of everything has been crazy. So got here, me and good old ChatGPT and Claude, and doing things solo, and all I read is being a solo founder being a drag for everybody. So searching, it's I'm 100% in here. So
yeah,
and so far along, it's
well, that's another. I will have to move on, but a couple ideas for you. One is, well, like I said to Pratishka, PG, you're not crazy. It's tough. It's okay. I mean, that's how this is the grind, right? But most accelerators or incubators, or certainly funding opportunities, are going to want you to not be solo. They're going to want to see that you have not just customers, but that you've convinced other people to join the team, right? So I think I don't know the current specifics of the Y Combinator or Techstars applications, but I know like at Tech Coast Angels, we're not interested. We don't talk to companies much anymore that don't have revenue already, and probably at least a few people. They don't all have to be co-founders, but it's got to be more than a solo act with no money, right? It's so easy to spin stuff up now, especially with AI, that you're going to need a little more traction than that. And then I guess the other good news is I have a book coming for you. It's going to take me about 6 months, but this is exactly what it's about. It's like how to go through this journey and survive. And then last, I'll just say, I think you're a member at the Startup Council. Yeah, you are, right? At startupcouncil.org site. There, we have a function there down on the bottom of the homepage. You can post if it's useful to you. You could post an ad for a co-founder and just see if anybody shows up, right? Because there's not really, as far as I know, many places where people can find co-founders, and it's hard.
Right.
So that would be maybe a pre-vetted place that you could do that if that would be helpful to you. That's why I created it. So.
Thanks.
All right. Well, nice to meet you, Mike. Hope to see you again, and hope to see you in person since you're nearby. Maybe we'll cross paths one of these days. All right, cool. Well, nice to meet him. And let's see what's going on in the chat room. I see it looks like people are helping each other out, which is awesome. So LinkedIn Live is working, but the chat isn't. Is that what's happening? Okay, that's weird. Yeah, they're kind of wonky over there. It's frustrating. Sorry about that. But actually, you know what? Maybe did anybody who's there? I won't do it. Maybe one of you who was there. Could you just come over to LinkedIn? Because if I stop, you'll all have to be watching me while I do that. But anyway, I'd appreciate that if somebody could just say that. It's youtube.com/Scott Fox. That's our channel. So if that's a possibility, that'd be much appreciated. All right. So what are Alla and Kat talking about here? Let's see, PitchBook. Okay, I'm not sure which way to read this. Okay, here we go. Official orders. Okay, that's Jags again. We'll come back to you, Jags. What's Allah says? What's the best channel to onboard first customers for cash management, forecasting, AI, and MVP? Target customers are startup CEOs after Series A funding with fast cash burn. Huh, that's cool. Yeah, so I don't know Cat DSNY, but nothing from LinkedIn. That was a good idea, though. Yeah, you got to be real specific. I agree with that too. You need to do the lab work. Yeah. Okay, so I guess it sounds amazing. I don't know. I'd have to know a lot more about it. I agree with that advice that Kat gave you, but I would also suggest that you are picking a highly impacted audience, right? Everybody wants to talk to funded Series A founders, right? That's the dream for every service provider, right? There are young companies that aren't sure what they're doing and don't have their full stack of services lined up yet. And they've got money. Like that's what everybody wants to do, right? So anybody who's a funded Series A founder on LinkedIn or anywhere else is getting lots of calls. So I don't know if you have a background in sales or business development, but you're going to need it. So I'm trying to be helpful here, realistic. That's what this show is about. But because if you're an AI genius but you don't know sales, your product better be extra amazing because those people are hard to reach. Full stop, right? You picked like one of the hardest angles. So I guess what I would do is I would drill down and find a specific angle in a specific industry, ideally one that you have specific connections with, like just making this up, like your spouse is a nurse and they know the chief financial officer at the local hospital, and this will work really great for certain kind of insurance billing for hospitals, right? Like drill down, and you could probably get even more specific than that, right? Like maybe it's not hospitals, it's specific rehabilitation centers or post-surgery care centers or something, really specific, or apply that to, lawn furniture or car manufacturing or whatever your niche is, but find a niche because cash management is a really lucrative area to be in and everybody wants to be there. So you're going to need to be more competitive in some differentiating way. And maybe you already have. Apologies if you've already gone through that, but I think that's the only way forward, right? Is to really be specific so that when you contact somebody, you have something specific to offer them. That's a proven solution specific to their needs. They hear you and they're like, oh, this person gets me, right? Not just some sort of generic, hi, I manage cash and I can make you an extra 50 basis points or whatever. That might work. And if you're good at that, awesome. But it will get easier for you the more tightly you identify what we call an ICP or ideal customer profile, and then hit them very specifically and personally. That would be the way I would pursue that. Okay. Next up, we're going to, who's next on our list? Our hit list here is Mustafa. Hey, Mustafa, nice to see you here. I think there you are. Okay, here comes Mustafa. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you.
Very
All right.
nice to see you too.
Mustafa's you're almost going to be a regular here now. So you're working hard, and that's great. I mean, that's why I do this. I'm happy to help repeat offenders and come back and polish things. So did you want to pitch tonight? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I would like to pitch. I based on the last hour conversation, I a little bit change.
Okay.
With a little bit more polish right now.
Excellent. Okay. Well, so let me just remind the audience, Mustafa's going to have 2 minutes and he's going to talk and tell us about his business. And then I will give what feedback I can offer. And then all of you too, please chime in. And you don't need to be an expert in his field. I mean, he's a doctor, so this is extra complicated, but that's not the point. What we're looking for, because we don't have time to debate like the whole strategy, we're going to presume that the business is a good idea and that he's on his way. What we can help with, and all of you can help with too, is his style, his things he didn't say, things he should say differently. Did he speak too fast? That kind of like structure and style critique. That's easy for anybody to say, I think you should have said more about the revenues or less about the whatever it is, that kind of thing, right? That's kind of the vibe. If all of you can help, that would be awesome. And by the way, everybody keep going in the chat room. That's great. If you're all are connecting with each other, that's awesome. You should all post your LinkedIn your LinkedIn URLs and connect that way too. We're building a community here. And of course, come and join the Startup Council, then you can all meet each other there too. Okay, so here comes Mustafa. I'm going to put 2 minutes on this. And like I said, this is an artificial amount of time, but the idea is just kind of to simulate the pressure of a real pitch. And then we'll talk through with some feedback afterwards. Okay, ready, Mustafa? Whenever you are.
Okay, I'm ready. Hi, everyone. My name is Mustafa Özgül. I'm a medical doctor and AI developer and CEO of A1 Diagnosis startup. We are building an AI-powered laboratory service for risk assessment of age-related macular degeneration. The problem: 20 million Americans have age-related macular degeneration, which causes central vision loss. It is irreversible. It is detected after damage happens. Our AI-powered platform detects AMD risk years before vision loss. This is the first blood-based risk assessment platform for age-related macular degeneration. I would like to explain our technology in a simple language. When we get older, some cells in our eyes start dying. Where do they go? They go into the blood. Previously, we couldn't detect them. Now we can. How it works? The patients go to the family doctor office, blood is drawn and sent it to our laboratory. We analyze it with our AI platform. We provide the risk assessment results to patients and family before vision loss happens. Who we are? I performed research at the University of California, Irvine for 6 years and wrote our AI algorithms. And co-founder Dr. Murat Baday is a Stanford scientist who raised over 10 million for his medical device startups. What we have done: proof of concept studies completed. We are raising over $1 million for CLIA lab certification. Revenue start first quarter 2027. A1 Diagnosis startup, pre-seed stage, see the future clearly. Thank you very much.
Wow, that is way better. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a pretty clear story. So everybody, before I get excited, everybody in the chat room, offer what you can. I mean, it wasn't perfect, right? So what suggestions everybody out there has could be helpful to him. And there goes the timer. It was under 2 minutes too. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, well, cool. So, all right. So how could it be better? Well, you're enthusiastic, you're qualified. It was a good story. You made a complicated subject much more easy to understand. Yeah, I thought that was very good. I guess if I was going to pick on anything, I didn't hear much about the revenues or the model, right? You said revenues coming in 2027, so that's fine.
Yes.
But it would be interesting for investors to know. Actually, we might have talked about this before. Is it software? Is it
This is
hardware?
a laboratory service, AI-powered laboratory service.
Laboratory service. Okay, so I don't know what that means. Like that obviously means something to you, but you'd have to unpack that more for me. Does it? Is that?
Okay.
Well, that's yeah. What is it?
Basically, there's in the field there's the exact science grail. Like the people send it to or doctors or patients or Quest Diagnostic. Everybody knows.
Mhm.
They go and then give the blood. They analyze it and provide the result. Actually, we are doing the same way. We are doing the very early detection for the disease.
Okay, so it's very roughly like a Quest Diagnostics for this one specific macular.
Yeah. AI-powered Quest
Okay.
Diagnostic for early detection.
Okay, great. Okay, so that might be a metaphor to add. So what I'm driving at is it wasn't clear who the customer is, right? Because what the investor wants to know is where the money comes from. So
Right.
do I pay as an
This-
individual?
this
Is it insurance? Is it through a hospital? Is it a charity?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
This is actually B2B and B2C. The patients can like a Quest Diagnostic. The patient can go and order online, and then we can come and give the result, or they can go to the primary doctor office. No need ophthalmology because the specialist. We try to do like a democratize. The people just go to the primary doctor office or just order online, come us, give us the blood. We analyze and tell the person before vision loss happens, hey, you have a risk.
Very cool. Okay. So that you need to say that because that's a big deal, right? If it's B2B is different than B2C. And if you're doing both, that's probably good, but I'll warn you that might also suggest that your focus is split. So that may or may not be good. But that's helpful, right? So I guess the thing I would want to know then, because both of those have different marketing approaches.
Yeah, first approaches is B2C. This is our first approach.
So direct to consumer?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, B2B. Sorry,
B2B. Okay. Okay.
sorry, directly to the doctor office. When
Okay.
the people go and to doctor will give the order, and this is a reimbursement also open. I talked with the people in Medicare, one of the AI director who provide the reimbursement, and he told us if you get the certification, they are open to reimburse.
There you go. Okay, so that's what I was after. So that needs to be part of your pitch. It was only 2 minutes, so you can't say
Yeah, I
everything.
know.
But that's the piece that investors are going to know. Who's the customer? And then if it's what you said is B2B and it's Medicare, the next question immediately is, do you have a reimbursement code yet? So that may be farther down the road. But
And there's a possibility. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, but that can be a deal killer right there. So you need to be ready to deal with those sort of questions because that's a big deal, right? The payment. So the direct to consumer. The direct to consumer opportunity is exciting as well, and that's what I would call it. I would B2B and direct to consumer. If you can go direct to consumer, that's also very interesting, but it takes a whole different kind of marketing stack and personnel and outreach and budget. So I would talk about those either don't talk about it or talk about it as phase 2 someday if we get there, just so that people can see there's opportunity, but it's not going to be distracting to you while you build the first core business, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what the chat has to say. It looks like people were appreciative of your pitch. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll down here. Great presentation. What's your revenue model? Well, that's pretty much exactly what I asked. Are you using a homegrown? And so we don't have time for you to answer all these questions, but these are the kind of questions you should think about. So are you using a homegrown AI model? Right. What a ChatGPT, an API, open source, pre-trained, like that kind of stuff people are going to want to.
We wrote our AI algorithm, not using the generative AI. We have our own algorithm.
Oh, wow. Okay. And is it for hardware or software?
This is software, basically.
Software, okay. Yeah. I think you need to say that a couple more times because if this is a software company, it's a different path, right? So just say software more.
Basically we are actually our model. They did Exact Sciences, the company, exactly what we are doing for the cancer, actually. And this company was $10 billion last year. Okay. And this year is about purchase them like a requiring $23 billion right now.
23 billion?
Billion, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I think I would mention that. That's a great comp. They call that a comp, right? A comparable. Yeah, that's worth mentioning. Abbott Labs bought the closest analogy to our company for 23 billion. Yeah. Okay, that'll get people's attention. Nice. Well, cool. Well, it sounds like you're making progress. Congratulations. Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we are. I was following this company, and then all of a sudden last year, the Abbott decided to buy it in a one day. The stock double it.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's amazing. All right. Well, cool. Well, there's so much opportunity in biotech and med tech and all this stuff. It's exciting. I'm glad you're, like somebody said in the chat room. Great cause. I'm glad you're working on it. Awesome. Well, good to see you. All right. So that's our friend Mustafa. What an interesting company that is. So you get the vibe there for how to pitch. Hopefully the revenues are what we really need to hear about. I know everybody wants to talk about the product. That's why you got into it, or even the solution, because that's why you got into it. But investors want to hear about the money. That's the key thing. Okay. So we got a couple more folks backstage here. Let's see. Well, let me just check the chat room again. Oh, we've done almost an hour already. Let's see. Okay. Come on, you. There we go. Okay. So, all right. Hey, if this is being helpful to you, likes and comments would be really appreciated, guys. Trying to be helpful here. Okay. So there's a co-founder equity. Early stage investors. Okay, yeah, we can come to those. And this is one, I think, for you, Mustafa. How are you managing systems to manage clients, patients, insurances, medicine? Yeah, that's a good question for anything medical related, right? So that's worth thinking about. I presume you have answers for that as well, but it's a good point. All right, so let's go on to our next person here. And like I said, we're giving priority to folks who are members of the Startup Council here. This is our organization. It's a worldwide organization, community service based, and we're trying to help connect you all and accelerate you. So if that sounds useful, our primary function is publicity, really, to try to help you get attention from investors. So if you join the Startup Council, you can get a profile, and you can write. We'll give you your own blog that you'll get your articles published in our newsletters. You can publish ads for co-founders, like I mentioned earlier. You can submit new articles. You can. We have all kinds of discounts for software and services, and we can make introductions to lawyers and accountants and that kind of stuff. And it's a whole bunch of stuff. But the folks that are coming on camera are members of this organization already, and that's why they get priority. Okay, so next up who was next? Was Kyle, I think. Kyle. Okay, Kyle, here we go. Hey, Kyle.
How are you, Scott?
All right, nice to see you.
Same here.
I gotta tell you, I'm glad to hear that you're still at it. That's awesome. I don't think I've heard from you in maybe a year. Whenever, I don't know, time flies. But anyway, that's great that I think people are going to enjoy hearing about your company. That's great. And I'm looking forward to the update.
Yeah, thank you. It's taking a lot of different turns and just building traction and stuff like that. It's a lot of bureaucracy that happens in the fighting world, as well as just combat sports and contact sports anyway. So just working on that. Sure.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I think you've heard the drill, the 2-minute thing. I don't think we've done this here before, have we? I don't remember. But
no, we haven't.
Okay. So, but yeah, if you want to do a 2-minute version, I'll give you what help I can, and hopefully folks in the chat room will too. And we can start whenever you're ready.
Perfect. I'll get started. So, according to the World Health Organization, over 56 million concussions occur worldwide, with the majority being sports related. Parents, athletes, and staff, unfortunately, all don't have the ability to recognize, report, and monitor symptoms remotely until now. My name's Kyle, the founder of SmartNosis, a concussion diagnosis app for contact sports. Our solution revolves around a proprietary questionnaire and scoring system that monitors athletes over the critical first 7 days after a head injury. Treatment and recovery suggestions are generated depending on the athlete's answers. We proved our concept in the most dangerous sports in the world, combat sports. Approved by the World Boxing Council, the Association of Boxing Commissions, the California State Athletic Commission, and the Confederation of Brazilian MMA, we've piloted with 7 fight promoters and have secured a Canadian commission as our first paying sanctioning body, making SmartNosis mandatory. We also secured our first private high school in New Jersey, and that begins in Q1 this year. We're raising capital to scale worldwide, targeting youth sports organizations, private high schools, colleges, sanctioning bodies, and local and federal law enforcement. Our team and advisors consist of sports neurologists and influential decision makers in sports. Safety starts with awareness, and awareness starts here.
The end. Very nice. Cool. Just going to stop the timer. Awesome. Well, you paint a really good picture there. Congratulations. That sounds like some progress since we last talked. You've got some real credentials with third parties, right? Like it's not just your mom, right?
Yeah.
It's like real stuff. Awesome. Well, that's very cool. Okay, so everybody in the chat room that's listening or on the air, right? Please go ahead. If you have suggestions about what he could do to improve the pitch, please chime in and offer your help or connections. If you have resources that would help him as well, potential customers, that's always welcome, I'm sure. So, and I'll go first, and then we'll talk about whatever comments other folks have. So, it was very good. You painted a good picture. I mean, the idea that concussions need better service just makes sense. Anybody that watches football or worries about kids or, combat sport, I mean, it's a universal thing. I guess I'm glad this is kind of a negative thing that's actually super positive. Most pitches I hear like this, people would take half the time just to try to convince us that concussions are bad, right? They all these statistics, blah, blah, blah. And you need to do some of that, right? But you got past it quickly to all these sanctioning bodies and that stuff is very, very impressive. I guess what it didn't have was numbers, and investors really like numbers. So I guess I would want to add, again, it's only 2 minutes, right? But I would want to add if you have any numbers. And I think those fall at least roughly into two buckets. One bucket would be results, like how many, how often does this help, or how many people has it helped, or what percentage increase, or like, I don't know how to quantify it exactly, but
like recovery.
how many people has it helped, and what difference is it making? If you could say something like, we helped whatever 73,000 people and they improved their concussions by 17%, or something like that.
Mhm.
That is, investors eat numbers. The whole time we're listening, we're trying to put together an equation in our head to model your business. Like, we're spreadsheet crazy, right? So if you tell us a good story, that's great, but you didn't tell us enough to know whether I want to learn more or not, because we hear lots of stories, right? So that's one, numbers about performance or adoption. And that leads to the other one, which of course is numbers about customers and revenue. So it sounds like you're still pre-revenue. Is that right?
Well, we've got we're starting a pilot in March with St. Peter's Prep in New Jersey, and they're going to be transitioning into a paid customer. We're giving them the first semester for like their kids, like as a pilot, right? And then they'll be transitioning into a paying customer. And we just secured a Canadian left bridge combat sports commission in Canada. They're going to be our first paying sanctioning body. Actually, we're doing a nominal fee for them. We're doing a few fights for them next month and the following 3 months. So basically one fight every month. But it's kind of like, it's kind of like set the precedent, right? Like, so that was a big part of what I've been doing is figuring out this business model with the sanctioning bodies. How is that the fee, who's paying for it, right? How do you get that to promoters? Do you go directly to promoters,
right,
or through the sanctioning body who makes it mandatory? So we were lucky to do that. And with the
that's all the stuff you need to unpack for an investor, because that's your unique domain knowledge. Like, I don't know you that well. I presume you don't have a PhD in this stuff. I don't think anybody does, right? But but you have this, which is like intimate knowledge of sanctioning bodies in multiple countries and what it takes, that this business model that you're developing. You should unpack that for us. Like, show us that that's a differentiator. You've done this homework, and particularly you did it again here. You talked about all that, not a single number, right? You got to get in the habit of saying numbers. And I know that's because you don't want to commit, but you should at least say something like, we project that the average contract for a sanctioning body like Lethbridge might look like $1,000 a month or $1 million a year or whatever. Like, give us something, because otherwise I have no idea how big this business is, right? And this whole thing could be only a $10 million business. It's not big enough for venture capitalists to be interested in, right? I think you know that, because I've seen you at bigger events where this kind of stuff is discussed, right? So but if this has a potential to be $1 billion business, you need to give us some numbers to understand why that is. And particularly, this goes back to what I was saying with Mustafa, who's the customer? And that's what you were kind of talking about there. Like, is it sanctioning bodies? Is it individual fighters? Is it schools? Like, it could be all of those. I don't know, but that's what you need to tell us. Like, who's buying, how often, how much? Like that.
Gotcha. Right now it's the sanctioning bodies and the schools, like private high schools and colleges. The schools and colleges, that's 10 grand for the year. That's what they're doing. And then the sanctioning bodies is about $500 per card. And a card is like, Jake Paul's fight had maybe 7 or 8 people on the card, right? So it's like 4 fights. Amateurs have maybe 30 people on a card, right? But we're just giving it, 500 per card, and you multiply that by every card across, sanctioning bodies.
Great. So you could do the math with that real quick, and the numbers get big fast, don't they?
Very fast.
Yeah. Okay. So work that into your pitch, because without that, it's just a story, right?
Okay.
And you can see in the chat room, people are talking with Mustafa about his TAM, SAM, SOM. I don't know if you're familiar with that kind of terminology, but for those who aren't, it's total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, and serviceable obtainable market. So it's like this kind of 3 circles as you home in on exactly who you're talking to, and putting numbers to that helps us understand. And that's what you want, because investors will want to size this up so that they know whether they're interested. Because otherwise, like I said twice already, it's just a story, right? So cool. Oh, sorry. We should check the chat room too. Let's see what other folks had to say about this. I thought it was cool, but I hope that feedback is helpful. Okay. A bunch of questions for Mustafa there. Addressable market. Yep. Oh, they're talking to each other. Okay. Okay, thinking about this, maybe I'm off base, but I see potential SaaS through channel partners vis-a-vis middle school and high school through parents. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm with you. Ignite Media, AI Night Media, Ignite Media. I'm not sure how to say that. Anyway, yeah, and you've probably thought about that, right? Because as a parent, like you could certainly see paying whatever, $5 a month or whatever it is.
So for like youth athletics, right? So let's say like the American Youth Soccer Organization, right? Like they would be the actual customer, youth sports, but they'd be passing that fee on through membership to the
Right.
parents, right?
Okay.
So the parents would be downloading the app. Same thing with, high schools. Like what St. Peter's is doing is they're just, buying it and then giving it out to the parents, and the parents are basically going to be monitoring their kids or having their kids download it and monitor, right, as they go throughout the season and things like that. And when it comes to fighting, it's the sanctioning body, and it's just a web app, which is a little bit different from the schools and the colleges on what they're doing. It's a web app. Each fight, each card, they just scan, register, and then they get their automated messages.
Yeah, that sounds promising. Jules chimes in and says travel teams. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So just pull that into your pitch, right? Tell us how it works and who's paying. That's critical stuff. Awesome. Well, good to see you. Congrats on the progress. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you're still at it. I think it's a cool business.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome. Nice to see you. All right. And come join us over at the Startup Council, Kyle. I think hopefully we could help you more. Unless you have already. I don't think you have, but everybody here, please come join us. We can all help each other. Okay, so we got one more, I think, and then we'll do a bunch of the ones in the chat room for cleanup. Who didn't I talk to? Sean. Yeah, Sean's still here. Sean is back. Hey, Sean, how are you? I think you're East Coast somewhere, aren't you?
I'm in Delaware.
That's right. I saw that on your form. That's right. So you're up late. Well, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, I'm a night guy anyway.
Okay, super. Okay, so I saw your form, but now I can't remember what you wanted to talk about. Can you remind us?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick update. But we'd spoken, I guess, about 3 months ago, and I'm just starting an accelerator program. It's called
Okay.
Conscious Venture Labs. Really, we just finished it. Did our the big finale pitch last week. A wonderful group of people, and they're all about conscious capitalism, which is more. It's not like having a business is not about making money, but about making the world a better place.
Cool.
Yeah, very, very, just a great group of people. Can't say no. Yeah. So it looks like we're gonna probably get some funding, and we've got a couple of clients. We have some traction going. So,
and you had a background, right? Don't you? You've done this before, or you're adult, right?
This is my third startup.
Right.
Yeah, had a couple of exits. So.
Okay.
So my advice regarding that is, just keep with it. You just keep going, and it's, it's not easy, and you have to connect with the right people, and all of a sudden it works.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my question, I'm a software developer by trade, been C-level executive in programming for the last 30 some years. And in the last 6 weeks or so, just the types of tools that have come out, and in particular, I'm going to mention Codex as a tool that's used for development, have really revolutionized what you can put together in a very short amount of time. And I'm wondering. First of all, I think that it creates a ton of sort of equity, right? People who don't have $50,000 in 9 months to build a product, all of a sudden they can almost do it themselves. Or much cheaper. But I'm wondering, what do you think is now the differentiator, right? Because it used to be, I need VC funding to build my product. Fund my 10 developers for the next 9 months to build this thing. I need $200,000. That's that's coming to an end. What do you think? What do you think the landscape starts to look like over the next 6 months as this really gets mainstream?
Yeah, I wish I had a great answer. I've thought about it, but my main answer would be I think we don't know. It's still too early. I'll try harder than that, though. But I think that's really the answer, right? Who the hell knows? It's moving so fast, especially if it starts. If the AIs start teaching themselves and it becomes recursive, God only knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, even Anthropic, what's his name, Mario, was just saying yesterday that he thinks AI is going to, could kill us all. So there's lots
I'm
of
sure it's to that point. That's interesting, though.
yeah, lots of opportunities here. But so yeah, I've been seeing that even in my own work. I'm not a coder by any means, but I've been increasingly working. I started with Gemini and then ChatGPT, and now more and more Claude, and the things it can do just for, like, with my new book, right? It's helping me revise and edit at scale, not just like a paragraph at a time. It's crazy. And it takes a lot of organized thinking to get it to do what you want. But I guess that's where I see value. I actually posted on LinkedIn yesterday or Sunday. Anyway, a post. It's a post you might actually find interesting because there's a guy named David Mattin, Mattin, and he has a newsletter called New World, Same Humans. And it's on my LinkedIn page from the other day. But anyway, he wrote his guidance because he's an AI commentator specifically, right? But about what we should be teaching our children, right? Like, 'cause what do you do, right? It's one thing if you already have a career or you're as old as you are or I am, but if you're 12 or 20, what are you going to do? So anyway, so I think the differentiators hopefully are going to be, first of all, the organization. Like, I find that the prompts that I need to do to get really good results require such a level of focus that most people are not going to be able to do it. The same way that you as a software developer, people might get the concepts, but the actually writing all that code, command line stuff that you can do, that you're fluent in as a language, it's a high bar just intellectually. So I think that I'm hoping that there are still skills required in terms of organization, and not just the organization, but the being judicious about what matters and prioritizing, that kind of stuff, like higher order thinking, executive function. And then the other big one, which this post is about on Sunday, is I would really like to see, I think there's going to be a lot of disruption. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs, but maybe this isn't answering your question, but especially you're into this conscious capitalism stuff. I guess I am too. One of the things I'm hoping it happens is that it frees up a lot of people from the rote work, the processing of papers and the transaction verification and reconciliations, and maybe basic coding, and maybe human empathy starts to be valued finally more like it should be. And we can come up with incentive systems that allow people to do something that I don't think AI will be real good at, which is interpersonal communication and support for people, especially as our society ages, here in the States anyway, and worldwide, honestly. The birth rate isn't replacing the old people. We're turning into a gerontocracy, right? And if maybe AI can free up a lot of people, even truck drivers, from that work and allow people to be more kind to each other. That's pretty utopian, but that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
no, I agree too. I think that's part of what my vision is around that is, that there does become some more equity and some more people actually talking to each other more. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'd hope so. Yeah. In the chat room, Ignite Media is saying, the iteration speed is, you can create a company that can be unkillable. Incentive mismatch because we have needs, it doesn't, and it doesn't. Yeah, that's right. We have more needs than it does. That's very insightful. I agree. Yeah, and post-World War II hierarchy is collapsing. Yeah, that's right. And they said, I am right in all caps. Cool.
That's to be right.
Yeah, it's good to be right. Well, I mean, I hope I'm right? I mean, if we could have a shift of focus from some of the craziness that's been going on towards some kindness and supporting old people, that would be real progress in my book. Yeah. But to the heart of your question, for the coding jobs and the entry level jobs, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I worry about that. I don't know where are the next level of where's the next tranche of entry level jobs going to, right? Those people, they're not going to have any purpose. So.
That's right. And I for years have thought about back during the Depression, they had this the Civilian Conservation Corps, kind of a national service thing, and I'm thinking I've been thinking that for years, we should do that. But now, especially with AI coming, we should take all these people and train them how to be nurses and counselors and help old people do their laundry. That's valuable work, and for millennia that was valued, and now it really isn't, because we're all on a competing to buy a Bentley, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Pretty philosophical stuff, but thank you for the question. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
helpful.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, nice to see you. And congrats on graduating from the incubator. That's cool.
Thanks.
Hope we'll see more of your creations. It's always good to find guys that are thoughtful and pleasant when they're building companies. Nice to see you, Sean.
Happy to
All right. Well, hopefully, come join us at the Startup Council. It'll be nice to see more of you as well. And thanks for staying up late. Okay, so getting nearish the end, let's go back to the chat room here. That kind of covers everybody that was backstage, I think. Thanks to all of you who, like I said, I think this is the first time ever where everybody followed the instructions and actually sent in their paperwork, which is amazing. There is progress in the world. So let's go through the chat room and talk about the rest of them, the rest of the questions. Let me point out that next time, if any of you want to be on camera, please come join the Startup Council, and then you get the link to come join us, right? And then we can talk directly. That's kind of what we're trying to set up here. Okay, so let me run back to the chat room and see. There were a couple questions. Somebody was talking, let's see. So Ty has a question about an ergonomic handle. We'll do that second, but Jags was talking about, Jags had a concept here. There we go. I'm trying to figure out what to do. In-home caregiver for decades, don't have much bandwidth, but you came up with an invention, designed, tested. Eventually, my wife, here we go, used it, and UCLA and Cedars even approved it for use for her during her hospital stay. Well, that's interesting. So they allowed it into the hospital. Okay, that's impressive. Only so much I can share. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Well, that's awfully, what's the word? Ambitious or accomplished of you? Good for you. Okay, there's a little more here. Since it's likely I need to make sure it's protected. Yes. Rights protected, justify. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and then he or she says, I'll back off now. Stop taking over the room. So last thing I'll say is eating me up because I can say something I'll be using consists 100% safety. Okay, thank you. Talk to you later. Okay. Okay. Well, Jags, I don't know enough to, be real specific here, but I understand your concern about, not wanting to say too much. So, yeah, I guess, okay, well, I'll give you my kind of standard list of responses, but let me, well, medical stuff is a whole complicated world, right? So you just got to be careful. It's great that they allowed you to do it. That doesn't mean it's approved, right? So if you're going to go and actually turn it into a business, you'd need all kinds of clearances and so forth. And there are probably people in this chat tonight who could help you with some news about that. But you probably have investigated the clearance path to become a paid-for medical device, and it's long and arduous. So yes, you would need money. Having an idea alone, unfortunately, is not enough to do very much, right? I mean, these days, everybody has ideas, and the world is so connected now that there's a 1,000 ideas. You should see my inbox. I mean, it's insane. So that's why I do these shows, because I can scale and help more people at once than I can't answer individual emails like I used to. Although I guess I should say, I do some calls. There's a page here. If this is useful to you and you'd like to talk more, or any of you, this is expensive though, right? Because you have to call me directly. But I do some of that. I save time for that for some people who've got money to spend, to actually really work on stuff. So we could do that. I'm not pitching you, but that's just the fact. So what I would be doing if I were you, and you don't have much bandwidth, that's the other thing. You're just not going to be able to do this if you don't have any bandwidth. But assuming you did have some time, I would call the Small Business Development Corporation, SBDC, Small Business Development Corporation. That's a U.S. government-funded entity. Your tax dollars at work. They do free consulting for early-stage entrepreneurial type businesses, and they have mentors and advisors that would talk to you, right? You just need people to talk to, it sounds like. So that's free. It would still take time. There's also the Service Corps of Retired Executives, SCORE, and that's a similar thing. It's not a government thing, I don't think, and maybe it is, but it's retired executives who want to volunteer and give back. And again, they might be able to help you with some ideas or point you in the right directions. And then, of course, you can get into the world more like where I work, which like you could call me and we could book a time if you wanted to pay for it and stuff. Unfortunately, I can't give away all my time, but you're going to need time. So I'm not sure. I'm trying to be realistic here, right? If you don't have bandwidth, it may be a great idea, but without somebody to champion, it's probably not going to happen. I guess if I was forced, I would, maybe there's people at Cedars that were impressed with this thing and they would be interested. Maybe there's a young doctor or a young nurse or orderly or somebody who sees this and is like, wow, that's cool. And then also, if this is involving, because again, I don't know very much, if it's about a specific condition or syndrome or affliction of some sort, maybe there's an association that would be helpful, like it's multiple sclerosis related or it's cardiac care related or cancer, like all of those have many nonprofits. And maybe there's someone somewhere in one of those organizations where if you got more specific, you could find friends and partners and people that would help you commercialize it. That's the sort of thing I would be looking for. So I hope that's helpful. I can't give you much more than that without more details. And even then it's going to be a tough road if you don't have the time to pursue it. And oh, by the way, anybody that's in the chat room who have suggestions, this sounds like an exciting idea and it would be great to help him or her out with this. Okay. Now I was going to go back to, was it the ergonomics thing? So where was that? No, not there. Hang on, I'm getting there. Man, okay, well, I saw it. I can't find it now. So whoever had the question about the ergonomics thing, you can put it in again, and I'll try to handle that before we run out of time here. Okay, here's a fairly straightforward one. What's the industry standard for co-founder equity? This is from QuizTime899. Is it mandatory to grant an ownership stake to everyone designated as a co-founder? No, it's not mandatory. Nothing is mandatory. It's your company. You can do exactly what you want to do until you have investors. So that's the trick. That's one of the thresholds for whether you are going to raise money or not, is whether you want to give up some control and have a boss, right? Because once you have investors, even if they're minority shareholders, you have an obligation, at least a moral obligation, if not a legal financial one, to fill them in and keep them updated and listen to their advice, right? So, and they may have advice about this. So what's the industry standard for co-founder equity? Okay, a couple things. So this is also in my new book. So I hope that you'll stick around for a few months and the book will come out. It's going to be great. But first of all, you don't need a co-founder. Everybody thinks they need a co-founder. A co-founder is a crutch. A co-founder is because you're lonely and you're scared. And that's a totally legit way to feel. Totally. But it doesn't mean you need to give up half your company to somebody else, or even 20% of your company, right? Probably what you need is somebody who knows how to code because you don't, or somebody who knows how to market because you're a coder, or whatever it is, right? Product design or blah, 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 AI or something, right? So those people can be hired. And your challenge is not to give up half your company for a co-founder. And again, half is not mandatory. It's what you can negotiate. This is an old school haggle, right? But you want to find somebody that you can employ long enough to get to know them and then allow them to earn their way into a percentage of the company. That's how this is done. Because they may not want to work only for equity, you might have to give them more equity or ideally some cash as well. But you can pick whatever numbers you'd like and then negotiate. The key is that you do it over time and that they earn it, because things change. They may be thrilled and excited about it for this month and next month and even for 6 more months, but 8 months from now, they get a new job, or a parent gets ill, or they have a new baby, or whatever, something happens, right? And they leave, right? So what happens to their equity, right? You have to think through all the worst cases, and all of this can be arranged. A good book for this, actually, let me see if I can find it. I've got it right here. Yeah, here it is. Try this. I'll have an even better version of my book, so don't spend all your money on this one. But but this is a really good book, Slicing the Pie. Okay, this is a few years old. I think they even have an app or a website, but you can get the Slicing the Pie handbook, and it's just as the picture shows, right? They're slicing the pie between the different founders and how to share appropriately and how that will get diluted as you bring in outside investors. Okay, but bottom line, it's up to you. Okay, so Taylor, you had the ergonomics thing, yeah, but I can't find the question. Can you? Oh, there it is. Sorry, you did put it back in. Trying to start an infant. Hold on, where'd it go? Hopefully, yeah, there's some good comments in the chat room as well, answering this question, quiz time. Here it is. Okay. Taylor says, trying to start an infant car seat company based on my ergonomic handling, but don't know how or who to find. You got to give me a little more. Don't know how to start a company based on this invention or who to find. Okay, I'm going to try. Well, I guess I go back to this SBDC or the SCORE ideas. I would, I mean, this is a physical product, so this isn't my expertise. I have to be honest. I'm more of a software guy. But basically, you'd be looking at some product design issues and patenting, and then trying to build a business around it. So the trick, I guess, to me would be the distribution. If you assume the idea is brilliant, assume you can patent it, who's the customer and how are you going to get it to the customers? That's the hard part. So, okay, there's a little clarification. Who would be the correct people to start such a company? Well, I guess you'd need somebody who knows the car seat market, because that would address the distribution that I was just talking about. Who makes car seats and where are they sold and how much do they cost to manufacture? So you need somebody who knows how to market this stuff. You need somebody that knows how to manufacture this stuff. And then that's going to both include some kind of regulatory and licensing oversight, because car seats are it's not quite a medical device, but it's certainly something that is regulated, right? Because if they don't work, people die, right? So, so you've already spoken with SCORE. Okay, cool. That's interesting. That's good to hear. So I guess I think the kind of person you want is probably a product designer or an industrial designer. There are a few of those around here in Orange County. Are you local? I know you've been here before, right? I forget where you live, but if you look on the Orange County Startup Council .org website, there's a couple in the directory, I think, that do product design consulting. This one, yeah, Startup Council, OCStartupCouncil.org. Oh, here, it's like that. There, OCStartupCouncil.org. We have, I think there's some listings like that. But there are, this is a long way, you're making me think because I don't know this field so well. There are product design consultancies that specialize in helping people conceptualize and then make prototypes of physical products. I don't know much about them, but they do exist, and they sometimes even partner with inventors and try to make stuff happen. So I would try looking for that. Like talk to your favorite AI and ask for names of companies that do product development, prototyping, and engineering and design. And I'll bet you could find some. Yeah, I thought you're an OC. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, there's a big one down by the Spectrum, whose name I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure there's a couple in our directory as well. So I would start there. And also anybody in the chat room, do you know, how would you start, help Kyle start a infant car seat company? He'd love your advice. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, Kyle. Not my most brilliant answer ever, but let's move on to the next one. Okay. Ignite Media, thanks for your help with the many comments here. Looks like you're giving some good advice. And Vlad, are you here? Awesome. Hey, man, how are you? It's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Are you in America these days? Or are you back Eastern Europe again? I hope things are doing well with you. Let's see this one. Yeah, so this valuation question, there's Taylor again. Yeah, 500%, 500 for 5%. So then you take 20 times 5, right? 10 million. Yep, that's right. What it doesn't do is address pre and post money, because if the money comes in after or before, the company might now be worth 10,500,000 sort of idea, but that's close enough for argument's sake, right? That's the kind of percentage I was talking about earlier with was it Mike, I think, like 7% for 500 grand, that kind of thing. That's how you do the math. Yep. Okay. All right. And then, okay, Ignite Media says, lack of bandwidth equals provisional patent, that if it's not a passion, raise a little capital, you get 4 to 5 before the patent is granted or not, which allows you to run the jewels, or you need the granted to royalty. Okay, that's a very practical advice. This is for our friend who's got the medical device that was being used at UCLA and Cedars-Sinai, and what Ignite Media is saying is you can file a provisional patent. That might be, that itself can be a kind of a complicated thing, so don't underestimate that. But if you can file that without prosecuting the full patent and spending all the money, and kind of stake out the turf for this unique thing. And actually, Taylor, this would work for you too. You can have, maybe file a provisional patent around whatever the innovation is in the ergonomics of your child seat, and kind of stake out the territory for a while. You would need to probably have the full patent granted and everything in order to really make a business out of it, but that might allow you enough to get going and demonstrate it to customers and maybe get some orders or something and fund yourself that way. All right. Okay, come on down here. Yeah, well, this is the question, MacArthur. Yeah, or sorry, Mr. Akhabra. How are we going to graduate to expert level without doing entry-level jobs? Exactly. That is the question. That's what Sean and I were talking about, and I think we share your concern. I wish I had a better answer. I don't know. Maybe it'll be more like people just get used to them, and like you don't have to learn cursive writing anymore because kids type and text. They're better with their thumbs than I am with a pen, right? So maybe we just evolve. I hope so. Okay. Well, Taylor, you did have a provisional patent. All right, so you're a step ahead on that one. Yeah, good idea. Okay, and talk to Score. All right, well, you're making some progress. Nicely done. Yeah, so Ignite Media here with another good point. First principles. This is what investors want to hear from all your pitches. Who's affected? Like, who cares, right? And who cares enough to pay for it? Not vitamins, aspirin, right? They have a headache, you're going to solve it. So how big is the market? And then ideally, I don't know what this was in reference to specifically, but software is way easier to scale than hardware. So I don't think you can make a software-based car seat, but for example, Mike's Q Sports scoring thing, like that's taking a physical sport, meaning billiards and pool and so forth, and using software to add a lot of value to it. I think that's pretty cool. Software, investors love software. Ekaterina says, I'd love some founder investor perspective on this. A pre-prototype is expected to have CAD files to pitch investors, or can strong renders, product vision, and validation singles be enough? Ekaterina, it depends, right? It depends on the investor and what they want to see. I think you kind of know that, but I guess what I'm helping you clarify, hopefully, is there are no standards. Every deal is different. That's one of the reasons that angels and VCs, that's why we invest in companies. We want to meet the ideas. We want to meet you. We want to hear the thought process. The more you have, the better, of course, right? But if you don't have the money for CAD files, then you roll with what you've got, right? I mean, that's the reality. If you've got renders and validation signals are the ones that are most interesting to me there. Product vision is cheap, right? That's the problem with our friend with the medical device at UCLA and Taylor's car seat. Like the vision isn't enough, right? But if you have renders, that's a step in the right direction. Presumably those are somewhat scientifically generated renders with some engineering expertise. But the validation signals, that's what drives everything. So yeah, I would proceed that. Okay. Why did I say that cash management and forecasting area is hard to get into? That's not quite what I said. I said that selling to people who have money, selling cash management services and forecasting to startups that have recently raised Series A money can be challenging because everybody is trying to sell them similar services. That's what I was trying to say. So if I didn't, I apologize, but that was my message. And frankly, if I'm wrong, awesome, because that means you have expertise that I don't, and you can go kick some ass. So go do it. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I believe you personally lived the pains. That's absolutely, that wasn't my point. My point was getting the attention of your potential customers can be challenging. And if you think I'm wrong, then more power to you. I hope I am wrong, and I hope it's easy for you. Go get them. That's exactly the right spirit. Never believe experts, right? Or so-called expert. Okay, Mustafa's back. Do you recommend cold outreach to VCs or angel investors? You always suggest warm intros. Yes, this is what my new book is about. The whole thing is about the process of how do you make friends and turn them into investors, essentially, right? So, cold outreach to VCs is it's vanishingly small. It's kind of, I would really think about. It's more like you're writing a script and sending it into Paramount Studios or Warner Brothers and hoping that somebody's going to turn that into a blockbuster starring Tom Cruise and Angelina Jolie, right? I mean, it's too distant an opportunity. And if you don't know the people, they're not likely to take it seriously anyway, just like studios don't accept unreferred scripts, because if they do, everybody will say, hey, that's my movie. You copied my idea, right? So cold outreach is a really weak tool. It's obvious that you have to do it at some level if you don't know a bunch of investors and don't have a bunch of money already. So I'm not poo-pooing it, but it's just not that effective. Something like, I've been researching this actually for my book, at least 60%, and I think the number is significantly higher, of deals are venture deals are funded from outbound research, not inbound, or maybe I got that backwards. Anyway, my point is VCs go out and find deals way more than they accept random emails and then decide to invest. I mean, it can happen, and I wish it happened more, but this is a lot of the gatekeeping that I try really hard to fight against, especially if you're a minority or a woman or a person of color, or you're from some other place in the world, or you don't live in San Francisco, or all those things. Your chances of getting the warm introductions to people like me is really hard, right? That's why I do this. That's why I write these books, right? To try to open the doors a little bit. So a warm intro is far better, far, far better. The in-between is to meet people repeatedly, go to events, go join associations, come to things like this, make friends in the chat room, go on LinkedIn, comment on posts and click and connect and stuff. Like do what you can to create relationships before you have a real one. And eventually it will be a real one, right? And that's how you get investor attention. The trick is to really drill down and don't just talk to everybody. Like we were talking about earlier with our first question tonight, PK or PG. I think she's in the wrong room, right? She has a cool business. She's very qualified. She's talking to the wrong people, right? So make sure you're talking to the right people, and then it will actually be easier to make friends because they're your people, right? Like you're from the same industry. Like, oh, you used to work there. I used to work there. Or, like, oh yeah, I studied that in school. Oh, you did too. It's like that kind of stuff. That kind of networking is what is far, far more helpful than cold outreach. And dirty secret, most cold outreach to VC firms, who do you think reads those emails? I'll give you a hint. It's not the managing partners. It's the summer interns, right? Or the lowest possible person. So don't expect you're going to, hit the lottery by doing cold outreach, unfortunately. All right, a couple more here. I'm going to have to run out of time. Mr. Achabra is back. I'm building an insurance brokerage and commercial insurers transaction automation from intake to distribution of insurance policy. We have shortened insurance issuance time from 5 days to 4 hours. That sounds cool. Is that a question? Are you just looking for help or something? like to set up a session with, oh, I see. You want to, okay. Let me put the URL back up there. That sounds really cool. That's a good process improvement for sure. Where is that? Sorry, it's scottfox.com/workwithscott, but there it is. Okay, there's a URL for you if that's helpful. I'll warn you, I don't invest myself, if that's why you want to call. I don't invest myself directly much anymore. I do a lot of investments. I'm in 40 or 50 companies, but I'm also in a bunch of funds. And these days I mostly just invest in funds because I don't have the time to do the due diligence individually. But if you want to talk about strategy and how to raise money and how to present yourself and where to start with that kind of stuff, or how to come to the United States and raise money in the US capital markets, those are all things that I do a lot of. And I do a lot of speaking on all those things. Actually, if any of you are involved in events and I can be helpful, I speak on this stuff literally all over the world. Even like for the US State Department flies me around sometimes, and I speak like in Malaysia, or Australia or India, or Dubai, stuff like that. So I'm happy to speak as well if that's helpful. But yeah, if you want to work together a little more, that page was the one, scottfox.com/workwithscott. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. How can I get to family? Oh, sorry, Isaiah. Oh, man, now you guys, all these questions, you come in like an hour and a half later. Okay, we'll do a couple more here. Any thoughts on preferred corporate structures, LLCs or C Corp? There's no question. If you want to raise VC money, it absolutely has to be a C Corp, and it should be based in Delaware. Short answer. That's there used to be a lot more dispute about that. That is the only answer these days. The industry has converged on a Delaware C Corp. Isaiah says, what do you think about live shopping? Have you heard of app? Yeah, Whatnot's super cool. Yes, Isaiah. That's they're based in Los Angeles near me. I don't know where you are, but yeah, I think it's super cool. I'm really excited to see that work. The Chinese have an amazing ecosystem of live shopping and have for a long time. I've been expecting this to arrive in the United States for at least 10 years, and it looks like maybe it's finally coming. So I think it's cool. I don't know where the money is to be made in that. I guess you have to be an influencer essentially, right? So is now the time to jump in and be an influencer, have your own channel. I guess you would need to specialize in, you specialize in office equipment or high fashion purses or lawn furniture, or, whatever your thing is. I guess maybe now would be a good time to build that. I don't know much about it other than that, but that would be the way I would look at it. If you do that, let me know. Let us know. Come back next month. How can I get to family offices without having to pay $5,000 to get into events? Yeah, that's a good one. I don't have a good answer for you there. The family offices are hard to get a hold of. There are some, yeah, I mean, you've probably seen what I have, Taylor, online. People post lists and stuff. I don't know what kind of quality those have. I don't have a good answer for you there. I mean, I meet those people because I'm a fellow investor, right? But it's not something I can package for you. Yeah, events are a good way. Yeah, that's right. You're right. That's about the only time you find those people connected. I guess another angle would be networking, like I was speaking about a couple minutes ago on LinkedIn. You could find people there and kind of make friends, comment on their posts and stuff. That's the modern way of networking, at least as far as I know. I think I would check that out. We also have this other resource. Let me put it on the screen, startupinvestorsdirectory.com, which we built, which does not have a lot of family offices, I'll be honest, but it's a resource that we built for, where is this thing? There it is. We built for you guys, right? So this has about 3,000 early stage investors, and it's at this. This is what the logo looks like. You can go to that website and sign up, and it has an investor search engine, and you can search for all kinds of things. What it mostly is good for, like I said, I don't think it has a lot of family offices yet, but you can search very specifically by industry, stage, location, keywords. You can even search by personal characteristics, like if you're a veteran or you're Black or you're an immigrant or, any of those kinds of things. If this is helpful, you can go check that out. I built this specifically to help you guys with things like this, to find those investors, right? Because they're tough to find. Okay. Okay, so I think, let me see what else we got here. I think we might be finished, at least for this time. All right. Okay. Oh, here's my friend Vlad. Hey, Vlad. Nice to see you. Do I recommend using online platform to incorporate and get exposure towards VCs? Yeah, I do. Not because it's going to be any kind of guarantee, but because any exposure is good exposure. The number one problem in my experience that most startup founders have at the early stage is nobody knows they exist. So that's what startupcouncil.org is designed for. That's the platform I would go on, because I'm there running it, trying to help all you guys get exposure. So we do featured members, and you can publish your own articles and do things. You can post your financials to the extent you want to, or your whole deck. Like, we have very customized platform for that. My sense is that Gust and Signal are both very cool platforms. I have not seen either of them actually be used that much by investors. That may just be me. I'm not saying anything. I mean, David Rose, who started Gust, is a very impressive guy. I haven't seen that much action from it personally. And I've been on Signal MFX for years. And again, it hasn't really resulted in very much. So that may be because of just, my thesis and focus. Maybe it's totally active, like in late stage biotech, which I don't do, or in hardware or aerospace or something, in areas that I don't invest. Maybe they're really active. But I think that every founder needs more publicity. So my answer would be, yeah, why not? Low cost with a potentially high reward. And the more you're out there, the better. You never know who's watching or listening. So exposure, I think, is the number one demand, that the need that you most need to serve. And that goes along with pitches. Any place, anytime you get a chance to pitch your company, get up and do it. Even if you do a bad job, you never know who's in the audience, right? And being shy is just not the way to I don't think you're shy, Vlad, but being shy is not the way to win as a founder for everybody here who might be shy. So thanks, by the way, and congratulations to everybody who pitched tonight, because that's brave, right? It's not easy to do. All right, last question. We're going to go here because Ignite has offered a lot of helpful advice to others. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for participating. Scott, most distribution is surface. Do you have an opinion on Rails and why startups should drill down on first principles on that subject? Well, I'm not sure what exactly you mean, but I guess you're talking about building infrastructure as opposed to building say customer demand or customer go-to-market strategy, right? I think that's what you're meaning. Yeah, I mean, Rails are super important, obviously, right? I mean, everything runs Rails. I think what they mean is Rails is kind of slang for the behind-the-scenes tools that run everything, right? The Rails over Railroad. Yeah, Rails are super important. And actually, I think that, at least personally, that's where I see most of the money being made, at least in the SaaS era, and perhaps even more now with AI, is those that can step in and compress, as our insurance, Mr. Chabra was doing, compressing things down to 4 hours instead of 4 weeks, that kind of stuff. Building that kind of stuff, I think, is super important, and it's where the opportunity is really right now, because there's so much, there's so many things that could be done better, but that were so expensive and so niche oriented that it was too hard to customize for those unique use cases. But now with AI, it seems like you can code stuff that's specifically targeted at specific work processes or infrastructure holes or efficiency opportunities in almost any industry, that I think it would be, yeah, I think that's super interesting. I think that direct to consumer is the most common, I guess most people who are not entrepreneurs or VCs they think of direct to consumer as the entrepreneur. Like I have a new snack food or a beverage brand or even fashion clothing, like physical goods that they distribute to consumers. And that's obviously major, big companies and big sector of the economy, right? But the behind the scenes stuff that actually makes stuff run, I think is even more opportunity, honestly, because the customers are companies and they have budgets and they need to turn a profit. And if you can help them do that, they'll pay you in big ways, which is much less fickle perhaps than the trends that go around clothing or the taste of a food or a drink, what's in fashion this month in terms of energy drinks or whatever. So anyway. Okay, well, I think we're out of time here. That's been a solid almost 2 hours. So I hope you got your money's worth. I know you paid a lot for this. So I hope it was useful to you. If you had a good time or learned anything, please like and comment. Would you leave some comments? Actually, that really drives the algorithms. So especially, I think for some reason, LinkedIn didn't really kick in tonight for whatever reason, but you can still comment on our posts and like them. We would always appreciate your support for this kind of work that we do. And we do this. There's a good point. Please do more of this. I do about as much as I can. I do it once a month. I'm probably going to expand that, but I need to finish this book first. And we have a lot of other things going on, including not perhaps for sure, building this out so there are more discounts and deals for you. So you really should go look at startupcouncil.org, all of you. We are just launching a whole new set of discounts and stuff that will way more than pay. I think it's $49 or something a year, not a month. There's all kinds of stuff there. Seriously, it's more like we're having to pay extra for bandwidth because there's so much stuff on the homepage that it costs a lot to load. Because I put everything in there I could think of that would be helpful to founders on one page. So it's a little wonky, but we'll get there. And I do a lot of speaking, like I said. So I'm traveling a lot and speaking to groups about these kind of things. But thank you for your interest in doing it more. And I do enjoy it, and I hope it's helpful to you guys. So please tell your friends, like, comment, blah, blah, blah. I really appreciate your support. So have a nice evening or morning wherever you are in the world. And I hope to see you again next time. I'll be back next month on the fourth Tuesday is what we usually do. And keep your eyes open on our newsletters. If you're not on our newsletters, actually, let me put that up just real quick before we go. Even if you don't want to actually join the Startup Council, you gotta come and join the newsletters, because we have like 9 newsletters now. I think this says 7. I think there's 9. All different kinds of stuff that can be helpful to you, and they're all free. And the opportunity, of course, is to join us, and then you can get your stuff in our newsletters too, right? So we're trying to create a publishing megaphone to help you guys get more publicity about what you're building. So, all right. Nice to see you all. Have a lovely evening or morning, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, like and comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks, and good night.